Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cover 3 radio show here on EC Radio and the YouTube. My name is Cody, also go by Shaq. And today, we have an apology for missing last week. To be truthful, it was raining, and I really didn't want to come to the studio in the rain. But we're here now. We're here on this beautiful, and by beautiful, I mean still kind of crappy. Just focus the camera on. There we go. Still kind of crappy Tuesday, but nonetheless, we're here. We're braving it out. But another apology. I'll only be a 30-minute show around. I'm also the lead broadcasting voice here at Endicott, as some of you may know. So I have a men's soccer game to cover tonight. So if you do not get enough of this lustrous voice tonight, you can always go and live stream the men's soccer game tonight starting at 7 o'clock, and I will be on call there doing that as well. So if you miss me in 30 minutes in 2 weeks is just not enough, definitely follow along there. Just type in Endicott men's soccer, and it should be all right there on the homepage. Anyway, we're not here to talk about soccer today, like we're normally never here to talk about soccer. We're here to talk about baseball, and for those of you who really know me, you know that baseball is my favorite sport. And I had a whole thing last week dedicated to all the award races. So I'm actually going to briefly cover those because by the time next week rolls around, we won't get to talk about those. So we'll cover those briefly, and then we'll briefly go over the playoff preview, and then in the next coming weeks until World Series champion is crowned, and it better be the Red Sox. We'll talk about the postseason here in October. So for the MVP races, I'm just going to give who I think and why. Mookie Betts in the American League. I mean, dude's a monster. 30-30 season, batted like 346. I'm saying in the outfield what he did for the Red Sox. He's leading the league in WAR by a butt ton. He definitely is. You have players like Jose Ramirez, Mike Trout, JD Martinez, Chris Davis, Francisco Lindor, which I've considered in the race, in the hunt. But no one really did what Mookie did. All-around game. OPS was second in the league to Mike Trout. He's just a monster. If we look at the National League MVP, it has to be Christian Yelich. He was a home run shy of the Triple Crown, or ended up being 2 home runs shy because Arenado hit a shot in the 163. But Christian Yelich, what he did after the All-Star break, leading his Brewers squad into the best record in the National League. The Brewers I thought, would be a wild card team this year, and they ended up beating the Cubs for that opportunity to become a wild card team. So that is a good job for Yelich. You have Matt Carpenter, Freddie Freeman, Javier Baez also in the race for that, in my opinion, as well. Look at the Cy Young race. I think you got to give Blake Snell. I mean, dude had a 1.9 ERA, and he had 21 wins, sub-1 whip. 175 innings pitched, which isn't the 200 that you really want, but he led the league in WAR for pitchers, the American League in WAR for pitchers. He really is battling Corey Kluber, Justin Verlander. Chris Sale, he would be battling, but if Sale, didn't miss a whole 2 months, and Sale was arguably the most dominant pitcher all season other than DeGrom, and like his stats was 12-4 with a 2 ERA. 0.85 whip, which is a clear 0.6 points away from everybody else. In 150 innings, he still had the third most strikeouts in all the American League, with 230, 13.5 Ks per 9, which is just absolutely absurd, and 6.7 WAR, which is still higher than Kluber's, higher than Verlander's, and higher than everyone else but Blake Snell. If you want to put relievers in there as well for the Cy Young, Blake Trinan did really, really, really well. Edwin Diaz had 57 saves, but I think you got to give that one to Blake Snell there, especially the season. Move my mic a little bit. The season that Tampa Bay had, which really came out of nowhere, and he was a big factor for that. Jacob DeGrom, that's it. He's winning the Cy Young in the National League, or at least he should. If you look on my Twitter at the _cover_3, you can see that I've been a big proponent of Jacob DeGrom all season. I even went on little Twitter rants about him putting out stats and doing all this other stuff just to prove that, hey, he's an absolute tank and he should get, despite his 8-9 record. Think about it. He didn't even have a winning record. He had a 1.79 ERA or something. Ridiculously stupid. It was just crazy. For the American League Rookie of the Year, the sexy pick is Shohei Ohtani. He batted 280, 361 for the OBP, 564 for his slugging. He was an elite offensive weapon when he was playing, but 21 home runs, it's limited time. I feel like if you take a player like Miguel Andujar, which has roughly the same stats, actually we're going to look up Miguel Andujar. Miguel Andujar stats. If we look up Miguel Andujar and his stats coming into tonight, he finished the season with 47 doubles, 27 home runs, 92 RBI, just under 300 for his batting average, 328 OBP, so he just have to have a little more discipline, 527 and 855 OPS. Dude is a tank, and he just did it all year, 149 games, and his doubles really took off, and how many extra base hits. I think broke the Yankees single season record for doubles by a rookie. Yeah, he did, by Joe DiMaggio. So I think for me, he takes the cake just because he did it over an entire season while Ohtani had like that month he was out. But you also have to factor in Ohtani's pitching and how well did Ohtani pitch. When he was pitching very well. He finished the year, if I go back to my cheat sheet here, 4-2 with a 3.31 ERA in 50 innings, a bunch of strikeouts. But you got to give it to Miguel Andujar there, if you ask me. Now, in the National League, it's two players. It is Juan Soto, and it is Ronald Acuna Jr. Ill-prepared today. Ill-prepared. So if you look at their seasons and what they did, if you look at Juan Soto. For the season, Juan Soto had a 292 batting average, 406 on-base percentage, 517 slugging, and 923 OPS, 22 home runs, 5 steals, 70 RBI, good fielder at the age of 19. His WAR was 3. Look at Acuna. Acuna had a 4.1 WAR at the age of 20. With a 293 batting average, 26 home runs, 16 stolen bases, 64 RBI, 366 OBP, 552 slugging, 917 OPS. I'm giving it to Acuna. I think he had more of the moments, and I feel like they both had their stretches where there was all the baseball was talking about, and they had their moments where they just low-key were nasty, but no one was talking about them because they just got tired or something else happened. Acuna with his back-to-back games with leadoff home runs, something stupid like that. Finishing up with almost 30 home runs in the season is nothing to laugh at. He's going to be an absolute tank. Juan Soto also with 20-something home runs. The one thing about Soto, if you look at it, actually, Acuna accumulated, there we go, more at-bats. Yeah, Soto played more games, but only by a few. I know both of them didn't start the season in the majors, and I know Acuna got hurt for a little bit, but I didn't think that. I thought Soto actually played a lot more than Acuna did, but he only made 2 errors all season, that being Soto. If you look at Acuna's numbers, he made 5. I mean, they're both very, very solid. They're both going to be great talents, but I give mine to Acuna. So those are the 3 major awards, basically. I'm not going to get into Manager of the Year right now, but we do want to talk about the playoffs, MLB playoff bracket. I do know the matchups in my head, but I want to see them on papel. So tonight, excuse my hair, I like that flow going on. Yeah. So, Postseason baseball is my favorite baseball. And here we go. Here tonight we have the Chicago Cubs facing off the Colorado Rockies. I'm basically going to go round for round who I think is going to win, and we'll see if I'm right throughout the rest of October. Tonight the Cubs win. John Lester on the bump. John Lester in the postseason. Us Red Sox fans know that is basically the equivalent of throwing Pedro Martinez out there. Like, you do not win against John Lester in the postseason. Colorado had a great year. I had them as a wild card. I actually think I have. Yeah, I mean, the National League was kind of easy to. No, the Nationals didn't make it. I thought I had everyone right, but I remember me and Zach last year on Sportitude. Shout out to Zach and Sportitude Radio, my co-broadcast partner last year. I came on his show late in the year, and we did a playoff preview or the season preview, who we thought were going to be the playoffs. And I did have the Rockies, and I did have the Brewers in the playoffs. So good job, Cody, pat on the back there. So I think the Cubs are going to end up playing the Brewers in the wild card. The AL wild card, I'm going to give it to the Yankees, and here's why. I don't think that the A's have a pitcher that can go out there and get them a win. I think it's going to be an offensive battle. Severino's on the bump, and he's been pitching, I guess, better than he was a couple weeks ago when he was he was awful. I don't know the Yankees and who had the most rest, but if I were the Yankees, I would have put J.A. Happ in there because the A's ain't nothing to mess with. But I will give the Yankees, it'll be a Yankees-Boston first-round matchup. Back to the National League. Dodgers, Braves. I don't think the Braves have really anything. They're a very, very young team. They're a very, very promising team, but I don't think they get the job done. I think Kershaw, and despite Kershaw's career struggles in the postseason, I think he just mows down these young bats. Dansby Swanson's out for the playoffs, I believe. That's what I saw, what I read. But you still have Acuna. You still have Albies. You still have what's his face? Their pitcher. I forget his name. Shoot. But you do have a decent young staff, but young. I think that's the big key word there, young. No one thought this Braves team was going to make the playoffs. They ended up doing a lot, but Freddie Freeman as well in the lineup. Can't forget about him. No one really thought this team was going to go anywhere, mostly because everyone thought it was the Nationals division, and Nationals ended up third in that division. The Phillies played really, really well. Dodgers and I think Dodgers sweep it, honestly. So I give the Dodgers sweep. Brewers Cubs is going to be quite interesting. If you look at the bullpen and how strong the bullpen is in Milwaukee, they are perfectly set up for the postseason. I said this. I was very intrigued to find out that this past postseason, 57% of all the innings pitched, so more than half of all the innings pitched were pitched by relievers. So teams are going to relievers earlier and earlier and earlier because of these games. If your pitcher has 4 runs through 3 innings, you're kicking them out because you can't afford to go down in these series, especially the first round where it's only to 5 games, the DS, when there's only 5 games. So the Brewers are primed for the postseason. I'm going to give it to the Cubs in 5, though. And here's why. I just feel like there are just too many offensive weapons the Cubs can roll out there. I love the Brewers. The Brewers are one of my root for teams. As I mentioned, me and my Uncle Dave, before every year, we used to pick what team we would root for. The Red Sox ended up sucking. And this year, we didn't do one, but it would have been the Brewers for me. I do like the Brewers. I do like Christian Yelich. And like I said, he's, in my opinion, the unanimous MVP in the National League. I don't think their starting pitching has enough. Their bullpen's insane. They pitched, obviously yesterday in game 163, they did enough to get into win that game against those hot bats. But I feel like Rizzo always delivers in big moments. Chris Bryant is going to come alive. Javier Baez, who's another MVP candidate as well. absolutely insane. And in the postseason, where it's all about matchups, all about maximizing opportunities, what other manager would you rather have than Joe Madden? And I feel like that's the difference. Joe Madden, him playing, and how versatile that team. You can put out there Schwarber, you can put out Hap, you can put out what else is the center fielder's name? Shoot, they have a good defensive center fielder. You can put out Zobrist anywhere, so you can really do a lot with this team. Tommy La Stella, the greatest pinch hitter of all time. So I think just slight edge to the Cubs. Looking on the American League, I feel like this is the Astros series. I'm going to take Astros in 4. I think Cleveland is a great team, but I don't have as much confidence as I did in them last year, which I said they were the best team in baseball last year. And the last 2 years, honestly, they've been the best team. I just don't think they have it. I feel like Kluber still has a Cy Young candidate season, but it's still a down season in his terms, almost a 3 ERA. It seems like Higgins, like every other year, he's like hurt a little bit, and then he has a bad year, then he lights out the entire year with the Cy Young. They do have Carrasco, they do have Salazar, they do have Clevenger, all these other pitchers. But I do think that it's Houston. Houston had Garrett Cole. They have a full year of Justin Verlander, and you can see he was a big difference why they won the World Series last year. Is Verlander being Verlander. Osuna's in the lineup in the bullpen. You have Tony Sipp on top of Bregman, Altuve, Correa, Springer. Like, they're just insane, and I don't think that the Indians can really take them. Red Sox and the Yankees. I feel like it would be the Red Sox fan in me wants to say 4 games. The realistic person in me wants to say 5 games. But I don't think the Yankees have the starting pitching. And I think the Red Sox get it done in 4. I feel like I was talking with some of my buddies last night, and if you know about me, I do have another podcast I do outside of school, Celtics Pulse. Give it a look. This episode hasn't come out yet, so spoiler alert, a little sneak preview. We're doing basically this. So if you want even more detailed opinions with 2 other my good friends' opinions, good pals, good butterinos opinions, I'll let you know when that drops. So follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter so you know when that one drops, so you guys can see it. We talked about this, and the big point was Chris Sale chokes in the postseason come September time. And yeah, it's well documented that Chris Sale does not pitch as well in September than he does June, July, May, June, July. But I think it's a different story. I think Chris Sale, the velocity issues we've seen the last 2 weeks, I think that goes. I think he's back. Will he throw 99, 100? Maybe not, but if he can get 96, 97 with that nasty slider, he's going to wipe out Yankees hitters. I do think Eduardo Rodriguez is the odd man out just because how in the rotation, just because of how right-hand dominant this Yankees team is, and you've seen them light up Sale, you've seen them light up Price, you've seen them light up Erod, and I feel like if you put Porcello, who is the Yankees' father at this moment, and Evaldi, that just mitigates that power against the opposite handedness. Red Sox in 4. The bullpen does concern me, but we won't get to the bullpen this series. Moving on, we have the Dodgers and the Cubs in the LCS. Give me the Cubbies. I feel like it's going to be a 6-game series. I just like the Cubs. I mean, the Dodgers still have Machado, Puig, Turner, Bellinger, nasty Kike Hernandez, the greatest player to ever play the game. You have a bullpen that consists, not a bullpen, a rotation that consists of Clayton Kershaw, potentially a top 5 pitcher ever, and Walker Buehler, who pitched phenomenally last night against the Rockies. This is a good Dodgers team. I just think the Cubs team is better. I mean, they have the second best record in the National League for a reason. And I just like the Cubbies. I just really do. Like I said, it's that Madden difference. The bullpens, I would give the edge. I'd give the late bullpen an edge to the Dodgers, just because Jansen's probably the second best closer in the game right now. But if you need to throw out a bullpen arm in the fifth inning, the fourth inning, I would give that to the Cubs. I think they have a lot more weapons. Are they as good? I don't know. But you definitely would. I would give the edge there to the Cubs. Offensively, they either even out or it's even a slight edge to the Cubs. Just because they've been there. They do this. This is what they do now. I mean, the Cubs were the laughingstock of major leagues forever, and now they're just the best team. But give me the Cubbies in the World Series. And now we have the Astros and Red Sox, and the heartstrings. I obviously not want to bet against the Red Sox, but last year I did. And I said, I don't think we get over the Astros, and we didn't get over the Astros. I still went with the Red Sox in that series, but I did say that mostly because I love the Red Sox. That pauses for dramatic effect. We get past the Astros in a hard 7 games. I feel like that would be one of the best LCSs ever. I'm calling it right now. It's going to be one of the best LCSs ever. Give me the Red Sox. I mean, I think Chris Sale is going to be outstanding if we get the David Price we've been getting. He's just going to do good. And if you remember when he came out of the bullpen, he did pretty good against the Astros last year coming out of the bullpen. Another year, Benny, Mookie, JD. JD is a huge factor into this. They played us tough all season. We played them tough all season. It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a brawl. It's going to be an absolute war zone. But I do think Boston pulls up. Would I be surprised if Houston wins? No. These are the 2 best teams in the game going head to head. The one thing I am scared about is the Red Sox bullpen. Ever since the trade deadline, right before the trade deadline, everything was just going down the pooper, and it has continued that way. The only reliable arm, basically, in the bullpen has been Craig Kimbrell, and we're going to have to use Craig Kimbrell whenever. We need him in the most leveraged situations. If that means bring him in the 7th with 2 men on and 1 out, bring him in the 7th with 2 men, 1 out. He will have to go multiple innings sometimes. It's just the name of the game. And Craig Kimbrell is going to make or break us, I think, this postseason. I think offensively, we are as good as anyone else. The rotation had the potential to be as good as anyone else, even better than everyone else for both arguments. Defensively, we don't make many mistakes, other than Raffy. God rest Raffy Devers. But you have Ian Kinsler, you have Sander Bogarts, you have Mitch Moreland, 3 of the best defenders at their position. In the outfield, 3 of the best defenders at their position. Sandy Leon, who's been one of the best catchers of Raffy. But, I mean, this team has power. This team has leverage. This team steals. This team defends. This team pitches. It's just the back end is going to make or break us. It really is. The back end of that bullpen is going to make or break us. Whether it be Matt Barnes, Joe Kelly, we need someone to step up and have a phenomenal postseason. But I will take the Red Sox in 7. It is kind of... It's very scary when you have Sale versus Verlander, and then Price versus Cole, and then Porcello versus Keuchel. Oh my God! Astros should be in the National League just so they could be. This could be the World Series matchup instead. But anyway, whew. I'm getting nervous talking about it. Getting nervous talking about it. So, in the World Series, I do have the Red Sox Cubs. The ultimate World Series, quote unquote, 2 of the oldest franchises, 2 oldest ballparks. I'll leave it at that. Going head to head, give me the Red Sox in 6 if that does happen. I just feel like the Red Sox are the Cubs, just that next step. You have, you can put Baez versus Mookie. Mookie's just that next step. You can give me Rizzo or Bryant versus JDD is that next step. I guess if the third option would be like Benny versus Bryant, and I'd give you Bryant in that situation. But and even in the bullpen, the rotation. Other than Lester, I don't think there's another starter on that team that is as good as Price or Lester or Sale. And even then, those two are still better than Lester. Just Lester in the postseason is phenomenal. We've already been over this. So give me the Red Sox. Give me JD Martinez, another DH winning your World Series MVP, and please give me a parade. Give me a parade. All right, that we're going to do it for our show. We're going to do our quick Today in Sports History. Now let's see anyone that tickles our fancy. As I'm looking here. We are looking. A lot of baseball facts. I do want to give you guys a baseball fact because we're talking about baseball, and that'd be the best. Here we go. In 1974, future baseball Hall of Fame right fielder Hank Aaron hits his final home run as a member of the Atlanta Braves in a 13-0 drubbing Cincinnati Reds. Aaron's 733rd career home run on his last National League at bat. There you go. Hank Aaron hits his last home run of his career, or at least in the National League. No Issa Yikes moment of the week. I guess the Issa Yikes moment of the week is Cody didn't make it because it was very raining. He didn't want to get wet. That's your Issa Yikes moment of the week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure to stay tuned for next week. Actually, next week I will not be on air as well, for I have a class field trip I have to attend during the hours of 5 to 7 to next Tuesday. So catch me outside. How about that? I might end up just doing one of these in my dorm room, one of these YouTube podcasts in my dorm room. So if I do, stay tuned for that. Let me know if you want the details for that. Other than that, I think that's it for me. In Tua we trust, and everyone have a wonderful rest of your night.